big numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Happy anniversary, RTP. At Lenovo, we're proudly celebrating 20 years of calling the Triangle home. That's 2 decades of empowering future innovators through our local partnerships and championing smarter technology for all. And we're just getting started.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
The stress game that Carolina plays in the sense when they don't have the puck, trying to get the puck back as quick as possible. I think my speed, I'm able to do that. I think my speed, I can create a lot of room for the other guys as well, and I believe I will fit in very nicely. And that's obviously something you look at as well when you try to make a decision. But I talked to Rod, and we had kind of the same vision. The talks that I've had with the people in the Canes organization is something that really excited me.
Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am him. Victoria's here. That was Nick Ehlers. We will talk to his head coach, Rod Brind'Amour, coming up in, I guess now less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that conversation. Do you think that Rod watched the hot dog eating contest?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering yesterday. You have to ask him now.
Going to. It's on the list of, after we get through the hockey stuff,
Right.
It's on the list of the other things
Yeah.
that we're going to talk to Rod about.
The non-hockey related things.
So, and really there is no correlation between the hot dog eating contest and the sport of hockey. I am curious, do you think there is somebody on the team, not who could win the hot dog eating contest, but if we had a contest, who would win it?
Brent Burns.
No, he's not on the team anymore.
I know, but if he was.
That'll come up, though, with Rod.
I think he would, because he also, doesn't have his front teeth, so he wouldn't have anything to obstruct.
Wow.
Hot dogs eating? Get it? Yeah.
Right, just going right there.
I mean, he just feels like somebody who would win at any competition.
Here's what I appreciate about a lot of things I appreciated about Brent Burns, and maybe this will come up for in the goofy part of our conversation. There's a lot of players who are missing teeth in the NHL.
Yeah.
A ton. It's just the nature of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Invariably, when they're not playing, they put in, prosthetics.
Yeah, fake ones.
Burns never did.
No.
I never saw Burns do it.
He just owned it.
That's it. That's what I got.
Yeah, this is
what's
it.
left.
Love
this
me
is
as I
what's
am.
left. So, yeah, I appreciate that he doesn't do that. It's fine.
No, I'm down.
So, all right. There's a bunch going on. We have an American man in the Wimbledon semifinals. Taylor Fritz has survived long enough. We went for a long time with no good American male players. Seriously. And now we have a bunch in the top 15, 20-ish. It's very cool. I think Ben Shelton will play either a little bit later on today or tomorrow for a spot in the semifinals as well. We're already, it seems like the Wimbledon just started, although it was a week or so ago. We're already getting down to the semis.
Yeah.
So today is Tuesday. So, yeah, I think the other semifinal spots are decided tomorrow. I'm not sure. All right, should we go?
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
We're going to talk college football here. We're going to talk a little NFL football. John Breech of CBS Sports is going to join us in our second hour. And what's interesting is that I was communicating with both John and Ryan Wilson, two of our friends. And I asked them both the same question, and we'll come up in this segment about quarterbacks with the most pressure. I think I asked you that yesterday, right? So I think what we should start is our Summer Stupid Series.
Okay.
Where we go full on old school sports radio list topic.
Right.
Who are the quarterbacks with the most pressure on them?
Just rank everything.
Right. And it's I think interesting about this is that it really depends on your perspective about what pressure is.
Yes.
So my answer, as I was thinking about it, was I think I said Joe Burrow yesterday to you.
Mm-hmm.
But in thinking about it more, there's pressure on him.
Yeah.
But there's probably 10 quarterbacks that would be higher on that list than Joe Burrow. I threw out to, I guess it was to Ryan, that Justin Herbert has had very good success in the regular season, is 0 for 2 in 2 playoff appearances. The fact that he's only made 2 playoff appearances is somewhat alarming.
Yeah.
And last year, he had a great regular season, and boy, did they stink in their playoff game.
Mm-hmm, they did.
So I thought maybe him.
Mm-hmm.
And, his response to me was, those guys, I mean, a guy like Herbert or Trevor Lawrence, like there's nobody behind them that's taken their spot.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, to what he said to me, that eliminates some of the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw out I thought some interesting names. It is a fascinating. It really depends on what your point of view is.
See, and that's why I thought Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, especially the more I think about it, Lamar Jackson.
Well, nobody's taking his spot.
No, but it's just he gets so
Daniels.
close
Right.
that it's like he might have more internal pressure on himself.
Pressure to win that game.
Yes.
Right?
To get there and win.
So, I think the Bengals need to make the playoffs. And what Ryan said to me was, and I think it was the soundbite we used. Mike Tannenbaum said Caleb Williams, and that's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
So I put up a Twitter poll yesterday, and I got responses who didn't choose any of the 3 that said none of those guys have pressure. And honestly, it's a wildly fascinating discussion, and it will be part of our Summer Stupid series.
Nice.
Where we ask dopey questions and try to talk about it. So John Breech will do that with us next hour. So let's get somebody else's answer to that question. Michelle Smallman from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. Who does she think has the most pressure on them?
Isn't the answer always going to be Lamar Jackson until he gets to or wins the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a guy who is a 2-time MVP award winner. And by the way, he may have had his best season last year, even though he didn't win the MVP and Josh Allen did. He was sensational last year. He's got Derrick Henry. He's got other weapons, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. The defense took a big step up last year, and now you add Jair Alexander. You have a head coach who's won a Super Bowl. If it's not Lamar Jackson, I don't know who has more pressure on him heading into this season.
It doesn't get any more Summer Stupid series than this, right? And she's, in many respects, she's right. You said the same thing yesterday, right? And you could say, Lamar Jackson, it's about winning that game. If we're going Lamar Jackson, why aren't we saying Josh Allen?
There should be a ton of pressure on Josh.
To me, that's the guy. Mm-hmm. Maybe even slightly more than Lamar Jackson. At some point, Josh Allen, because, look, I see Allen and Jackson as not the same player, but the same guy in terms of you put the team on your back and you drag them where they need to go. Mm-hmm. So, to me, Josh Allen would be in the same category. But, again, just to borrow from Ryan Wilson, there's no pressure that those guys have that they're potentially losing their job. Anthony Richardson is a guy with a ton of pressure on him this year, right? This is his 3rd year in the league now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of time. He's
got to stay healthy, too.
He has to stay healthy, and he has to perform. look, just to bring it locally, and I'm going to fold this into something else, there's a ton of pressure on Bryce Young to, like, carry over from the end of last season into the beginning of this one. This will be a great question for Dave Canales. And maybe we should approach the Panthers to get him on. Does he play in the preseason? Remember last year, they didn't want him to play in the preseason.
No.
Right? Then he got the one series in the third game. They had a touchdown drive, right? Like, we're done. And then we saw what happened at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
I get why the preseason is shied away from by the NFL, by teams. I get it. But I just don't know that you can go into a season, unless you are like an extreme veteran.
Sure.
I just don't see how you can go into a season and not have exhibition reps under your belt.
Especially with all the new guys. There's so many new.
Well, every team deals with
rookies.
that, right?
Right, but especially just Panthers specifically.
Okay, to the 100% accurate. You just can't see all these joint practices. You can't simulate a game.
Mm-mm.
You just can't do it. So to me, that was probably, at least in the near term, probably a mistake that Canales made in not putting his players out there to face, live action before you got to the start of the season. My guess is you'll see Bryce Young playing maybe 2 of the 3 preseason games. Maybe not the first one, but certainly the second one. And maybe I know you only have 3. Or maybe he only plays in one of them, but it's probably more than a series. It's probably closer to a quarter, where you get 2, maybe even 3 cracks at moving the team. All right, so one more thing about the NFL, because we have no idea how this is going to play out. NFL.com is doing their top 100 players in the league. Top 100 players. And they're rolling it out very slowly. The top 10 won't be revealed until the week before the start of the regular season, which is September. So this is a slow rollout. And I just saw it now, so I thought I would bring it up because I have a question. How many Panthers do you think would be in the top 100 of NFL players, Victoria?
The current roster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not historically. No.
Okay.
This is current NFL players. How many of the top 100 players are Carolina Panthers?
Probably only like 2 or 3.
I think the answer is 0.
Yeah.
No, I do. I think that's not a knock on the. Well, it is a knock on the Panthers. I think the answer is probably 0. I actually found another list. Pete Prisco from CBS Sports put one out just a few days ago. He had 0 Panthers on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 1,400 players in the league.
There's a lot, yeah.
What? No, there's more than that. There's almost 3,000 players in the league. I can't do the math. Like if every team employs basically 60 guys. So 60 times 30, 32 NFL teams. We're talking about 2,000, let's say 2,000 NFL players. Did that math work out?
I'm doing that now.
60 times 32?
60 times 32.
It's about 2,000.
Is, 1920.
Okay. So let's just say that any player that would be considered would be at least in the top quarter of everybody's roster. So let's say you're looking at 500 players. It's hard for me to look at Carolina's roster and pick out, all right, who would be legitimately under consideration? Derek Brown, yes. I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I'm done in terms of top 100 players in the league.
I know.
Brown is coming off a year he didn't play.
Right. There is Adam Thielen, but
there's
so many other people that would.
Oh gosh,
rank above him.
I think if you went to the top,
he's just great for
I
us.
love Adam Thielen. I know I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know if you did the top 300 players.
Yeah.
That you get to Adam
Hey,
Thielen.
maybe our kicker, because Eddie was top notch last season.
Aren't they bringing in another kicker? No.
Yeah, they did get a new kicker.
Yeah. J.C. Horn probably just outside the top 100, and I think that's probably the only other player under consideration. I was looking at NFL.com's, the ones they have unveiled already. Tua, 91st.
Okay. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I understand he's had some health issues, right? But 91st gives you an idea of, Tua's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of the 10th best quarterback in the league, and that's 91 on their list.
Yeah.
Quinnen Williams, a defensive tackle for the Jets, or defensive lineman. The Jets have been playing, 3 downs, so he probably plays a little bit more of an end position there. He was 87th. Do you think Derek Brown is better than Quinnen Williams? I don't.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably Derek Brown playing. I think it's pretty close. Anyway, something to think about. Something that we may bring up.
I did put
John
on
Breech.
our YouTube stream. I asked people who the quarterback question about pressure. So if anyone wants to chime in on which quarterback they think has the most pressure.
One-timers.
Yeah.
We got one-timers coming up. All right, now to college football. Andrea Adelson and our friend David Hale from ACC Network and ESPN. They had a conversation with Ross Dellinger. I'm sorry. This was from Gramlich and McLean. We talked to Eric McLean yesterday. They had Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated, who covers college football. They had Dellinger on their podcast. And Dellinger was talking about the meetings between all the conference commissioners about the future. I guess they met in Asheville, which is a lovely place to meet, about the future of the college football playoff, and the two rich kids at the table, well, everybody's the rich kids, but SEC and the Big Ten do not see eye to eye.
Both the SEC and Big Ten sort of have to agree for any format to move forward. And right now they don't agree. The Big Ten is behind a playoff format that's has more automatic qualifiers, as 4 for the SEC and the Big Ten, 2 for the ACC and the Big 12, 1 for the Group of 5, and then 3 at large. And though I think many in the SEC athletic director room were for that format, we're pretty close to maybe seriously, having a vote in agreeing to that. But about a month ago at SEC spring meetings, the head coaches came out publicly after meetings with the ADs against it. And that has sort of kind of stopped conversations between the two leagues. And I think it's sort of created an impasse between the two leagues on a future format.
All right, so I've been talking about this for a long time. I, for the life of me, don't understand how we have suddenly gotten away from merit. I just don't. What happened to earning the spot? You earn a spot by winning your conference, for sure, if you're in the Big Ten or the SEC or the ACC or the Big 12 or the next best conference. Whether that comes from the American, the Mountain West, the reconfigured Pac-12, which ain't all that. Regardless of the league, Sun Belt. Whoever the next best conference champion is going to get a spot. After that, I can't fathom the argument behind 3 more Big Ten teams, definitely. 3 more SEC. I can't fathom the argument behind the ACC and the Big 12 automatically getting 1 more team in. I am Team ACC, always have been. But I am also, I think, Team let's do what's fair, just, and right. And I can't wrap my head around the argument in favor of we deserve our 4 best teams in. I can't. So I want to hear the real argument from the Big Ten other than because we say so. Now, it appears that the real problem is the fact that the SEC is balking on going to a 9-game conference schedule. The Big Ten plays 9 conference games. The SEC does not. All right, so the latest meeting ended with no results. Ross?
The commissioners met about a week and a half ago in Asheville, North Carolina, and it was the latest CFP meeting where Rich Clark and his team, including a couple of mathematicians and someone from Google, like data, basically made a presentation over sort of how they can change the selection committee process with specifics to what kind of data they use, what kind of data the selection committee uses. And the whole point is really to appease the SEC and the Big Ten, but mostly the SEC, and appeasing them by strengthening how much the committee values strength of schedule, I guess. And so that's kind of where it is right now. I would expect that we are many weeks, if not months away from some kind of resolution, because I don't know that the Big Ten is going to agree on any format that has a big at-large pool if the SEC doesn't go to 9 conference games, because the Big Ten currently plays 9 conference games.
I don't even understand why that matters. I really don't. And again, I want it explained to me. Because the Big Ten will ultimately be the wealthiest conference. It just will be. That's fine. That doesn't mean it's the best. The SEC plays the best football top to bottom. That, to me, is not even debatable. I don't know that you can make the argument that the Big Ten plays the next, last year, yeah, sort of, because of their top teams. But all things being equal, I'm not sure there's better football being played in the Big Ten than there is in the Big 12 or the ACC. They just have the most money. And therefore, they are trying to call the shots, which I get it. That's life, right? That's not just sports. That's just life. But getting into the tournament, I don't have the problem with the committee. Because I think, are there going to be mistakes here and there? Probably. But this inaction is going to leave them at 12 teams. It's not going to expand because they can't even come to a determination on how many teams should get in. Or rather, how do we determine who the teams are? Because one league doesn't like the committee's decision. What? I had this argument last year. We're going to break here because Rob Brind'Amour is coming up on the other side. I guess the SEC is mad that Indiana got in. Indiana played a terrible schedule. I get the argument that Indiana did not belong. I argued it all year long. They basically played 2 teams that had a chance to beat them all year long, and they lost big to one of them. Everybody else they played, they squashed. And they ran up the score to the point where, oh boy, look how good they are. We don't think so. Anyway, I get the SEC being mad at that because by and large their schedule is more difficult. But losses matter. Otherwise, why are we even playing? My feeling was the team that should have been really mad that Indiana got in was Miami. Miami, whose only losses were to 2 good teams. Or was it maybe 3 good teams? I don't know. I don't remember I think it was 2 at the end. Yeah, they had 2 because Indiana had 1 loss. Like, to me, Miami had more of an argument to get in over Indiana than Alabama did. But regardless, this is just a big swinging contest. Who can flex their muscles better than anybody else? And this inaction is going to leave us status quo, which actually might be okay anyway. All right, on the other side, Rod Brind'Amour, the head coach of your Carolina Hurricanes, on the offseason, the acquisitions, and more. Next.
questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Summer is for pool visits, vacations, and finally taking that adventure you've been putting off. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for Law Tigers, and one thing I've learned over my time riding motorcycles, or really just any vehicle in general, is you can try to plan for as much as possible when figuring out your next trip, but no one wants to think about the steps you have to take after getting into a wreck. And the reality is, riding your motorcycle comes with that risk, despite all of the benefits it also brings. But one important thing to remember if you're ever in that situation of getting into an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, always call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too. They understand the lifestyle. They understand the value of your bike and your gear. They know what it's like to go through an accident. So case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update. Day 9 at Wimbledon and the first batch of quarterfinals are underway. Second-seeded Carlos Alcaraz is continuing his pursuit of a third-straight Wimbledon title as he takes on Britt Cameron Norrie. The winner of that match will play fifth-seeded American Taylor Fritz in the semifinals. Earlier today, Fritz advanced with a 4-set victory over 17th-seeded Karen Khachanov. Fritz moving on to his first-ever semifinal at Wimbledon. He says it's nice to get over the hump.
It's an amazing feeling, obviously, having played the quarterfinals here twice and lost in 5 twice. I don't think I could have taken another one, so I'm really happy. I'm going to get to play the semis here.
Fritz is looking to become the first American to win the major in 25 years. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka avoids an upset, holding off Germany's Laura Siegemund in 3 sets, and 13th-seeded American Amanda Anisimova is leading 34-year-old Russian Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova after 1 set. With this tennis update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
This is Adam Gold.
There will be tushes pushed in the NFL in 2025.
Push and tushes.
There you go.
Happy Hump Day!
That's brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, the one and only Rod Brind'Amour, joins us. I promise we will get to things other than hockey in this conversation, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I think I should almost have a regular spot now at this point. What do you think?
I'm good with it. You tell me. You tell me what works, and we will do it. And there will be times we will not talk hockey at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You got it.
All
You
right.
haven't seen that yet, but let's see. Fire away. Let's go. What do you got for me?
All right. Let's just start with because we have some additions to the roster. So let's start with the most recent one, Nick Ehlers. New left wing, right wing. I don't know where you're planning on playing. What do you like about the player? And then we'll go from there.
Well, what's the like is obvious. The stuff that stands out when you watch him play is the speed and then the skill level. So that's a great combination. And to be honest, the consistency of that too over the years. Like he's been a pretty consistent player with those numbers and whatnot. So I think you're going to add a guy that can put a little more offense into our group and a little flair as well. So that I think that's obviously welcome.
He said that he had conversations with you in this process, and he felt like you guys were on the same page with what your vision for his role was on the team. So do you see him playing either the right or can he play both right and left? And do you see him playing with Sebastian?
Well, I think that's obviously where we would try to start him. I mean, that's one of the reasons bringing him in, I think, is to see if we can kind of, connect there with Seabass. And obviously we got some good options too with other guys, but I think that's be the starting point, and we'll see where it all goes. Obviously, I think he can help too on the special areas of the game, right? Like the power plays and the 4-on-4s, and we get into overtimes. Those are real key parts of the game, certainly in the regular season, and that's part of his skill set. So we're excited to get him in the mix, and a lot of potential there.
All right, let's talk about the other one. And I saw the video that was released, and you compared Keandre Miller to when Carolina brought in Brady Shea. The obvious comparison is it's the same team. You brought Shea in from the Rangers, Miller coming over from the Rangers, also a left shot defenseman. What is it about Miller that you think will fit in your system?
Well, I think any D can fit in a system. I think it's just that his skill set obviously is a little more, I guess, advantageous to his skill set too, like with the skating and the size and the reach and the covering ground. And I think his offensive mind, I think he's trying to get up in the play. You watch, he's got that ability. Looks like he's got a pretty good shot. That's kind of where the comparisons came in to, our good friend Brady Shea. So obviously that's pretty high praise in my opinion. We don't know the kid at all, so that's going to take some time. But I think it's a good change for him. I think it's going to be a good change of scenery, and obviously you can't. That position is just so valuable. And if we're thinking that he's going to be a top end D-man, which is obviously why we're reaching out to get him, I think this could be a real good fit.
I'm going to ask you about where in a minute, but I go back to the 23 series against the Rangers, and Adam Fox had a great year in 23, and they have other great defensemen. And for my money, I thought Miller was their best defenseman in that series. I thought that was the best I had ever seen him play in a long stretch, because I thought he was an elite player in that series. Does he play with a physical edge? Would you like to see maybe more of that, or you just want him to be who he is?
I think just the first thing you're doing is bring him in and make sure he's comfortable and play his game, and then now can we add, right? Can we make you even better player? So that's kind of the other stuff that you're talking about. If that's not part of his game naturally, can we get that out of him or add that to his repertoire? I mean, that's what it's all about with every player essentially. So it's I think a great move for our organization, and like I said, I mean, obviously a lot remains to be seen, but pretty good steps by management.
25 years old, 6'5", 210 pounds. That's not easy to add to a group, and he's already had 5 good years in the NHL. Rod Brind'Amour is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. 7 defensemen on the roster right now. Mike Riley was also added, and I think sneaky, really good move to add somebody with that much NHL experience as potentially, a 6-7 on your blue line. But right now, 5 of the 7 defensemen under contract play on the left side or are left shot. They can't all play on the left side because you have a big hole in the right. So who do you have in your mind who might step over and play the right side?
Yep. I think it's interesting because it's kind of a moot point. I know, we can fill time here talking about it, but everybody's probably going to move around a little bit this year. Maybe, in the past it wasn't quite that way.
Uh-huh.
But I think just because there's some unknowns, somebody's going to have to move over. We like our group. Does Walks get a chance to play up a little more? Do we do Nikishin up and see, or do we, got to be careful about pushing him too hard? He's got a lot to learn. So I think all this is going to, kind of work itself out. But it's just great to have, a lot of good options.
I don't know if you know this, I do a podcast, and I also speculated about how the defense would line up. And I said, there's a boring way of looking at this, and then there's a more creative way of looking at it. And the boring way is probably maybe the way to start, where you just elevate Jalen Chatfield and Sean Walker, moving them up a little bit, and you let Keandre Miller get ready playing behind Slavin on the left side, and you give Nikishin a chance to grow, playing him in a third-line role. And maybe move Gostisbehere over to play the right side, because he did play the right a little bit. I know there was a playoff game where he played the right, and I talked to Chip Tracy about it. Thought it might have been the best game he played with the Hurricanes. I know that maybe that's not boring, but is that maybe an easy way to start?
Well, I think that makes sense, right? And I think, moving guys over to their offsides is not ideal. Especially in today's game with the puck pressure that everyone puts on. So people don't understand that it's tough when you jam a guy up and he's got to take that extra second to handle it on his offside. All of a sudden, that's how turnovers happen. So what you mentioned, having Ghost go over there, he's one of our more talented players, so that makes sense, right? Like if you're just, sitting there going, well, let's try him because he probably can handle it the best. But like we said, there's going to be a lot of, I think, experimentation in that group. But I think every option should be a solid one.
Did you feel, before I move on to one more thing, did you feel almost like you were restricted in shuffling the deck defensively last year?
I don't think it was restricted. I just think it was, to be honest, we were still one of the best defensive teams in the league. So it's not like it was like, oh, man, we got to change things up. I mean, I never really felt that way. It was hard because you're comparing it to the years previous and where we had, probably the best maybe. Top four, just shut down really solid, and it wasn't quite the same, but still pretty good. But, I think, now this year, like I said, with new guys coming in, you don't really know. So maybe it does free you up a little bit to try new things.
All right, let me ask you one thing about the roster, and I know that there's been this search, and it's not just Carolina doing it. A lot of teams around the league are looking for another center to play in the top 6. And Carolina hasn't been able to go out and locate one via trade. There really wasn't one available in free agency once Sam Bennett re-signed with Florida. Would you consider a Jarvis or even a Logan Stankoven moving them to center and reconfiguring your lines?
Well, it's for sure a consideration. I mean, you just look at now with the additions that we have, it's pushing some wingers, if not down the lineup, maybe even out, right?
Right.
And so that's to avoid that, then somebody would have to slide in there. And so, that's something you definitely tossing around. And both those guys you mentioned, haven't played center in the NHL, but they did at younger days, which, helps a little bit. So I can, not 100% say that's going to happen, but it's definitely an option that we're seriously looking at.
Younger days for 22-year-old Logan Stankoven, or what, a 24-year-old Seth Jarvis, if he's even 24, that they were like 8 in their younger days. Do you think Seth would be a good center?
I think he would. I think it kind of goes back to where you would remember the debate about putting Marty Natchez at center, and doesn't mean they wouldn't be able to do it. Are you losing some of the high end stuff that they do on the wing?
Mm-hmm.
And is it really worth it? Like, okay, play center, now you're taking the 30 guy can pump in 30 and he gets 20, but he's playing good defense. Is that worth it?
Right.
It's kind of that concept. You don't want to take some of your best players and make them worse by playing a position it is really hard. It's a hard position to play. So, or it just adds another element, I guess, that takes away from your offense. You don't want that. So that's kind of the dilemma, and really we won't know until we do try it.
Yeah, that's why we have 6 preseason games, although these guys aren't going to play 6 preseason games. Oh, are you in favor of an 84-game NHL season, regular season?
I'm in favor for they're going to have 4 preseason games.
Yeah,
and then 84. I'm in favor of 88 regular season games and 0 preseason games. If you want to be the honest truth. So, whatever way lessens the one, and I'm good with adding the other.
Gotcha.
We don't want to get too carried away, but really, what I would love to see is the season just start earlier so that we can end earlier. And just if this feels like when it gets going into June that it's just dragging a little bit, unless you're teams that are in it, the interest level kind of everybody's thinking about other things. So love to see us figure a way as a league to speed it up a little bit without jamming up the whole season.
All right. Plus, if we end earlier, there's more time to watch the hot dog eating contest. Did you watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
I didn't this year.
What do you mean this year? You've watched it before?
We used to watch it as a family when my older ones were little. It was kind of a thing we would do because we were always with another family, and it was kind of a tradition. But to be honest, the last few years it was not that good. So we kind of just fell off it. So I know he won again, right?
He did.
He won again.
He made his comeback.
Did he even have anybody come close?
I don't think so. I
can tell you they did not because I watched it, Rod. No one was close.
I can't watch it. I just can't. I can't stay with it.
He needs to have somebody that can compete with him. Otherwise, it's just not worth watching, right? I don't care what it is. If it's competitive, you might watch it, but not if there's nobody competing with a guy stuffing hot dogs down his mouth. I don't think that's really that exciting.
I just can't do it. It grosses me out. Would you ever do a hot dog eating contest?
No, I probably wouldn't get 2 or 3 down before I'd be tapping out, and I don't want to come last in anything. So, no, thank you.
I mean, yeah. First of all, I can't eat the hot dogs the way they eat them. What do you like on a hot dog? I assume you eat hot dogs occasionally.
Well, I used to eat a little more than the good old internet shows you what hot dogs are made of.
I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I can't do that. But I'm just a plain ketchup dude or nothing, depending on where you're at. Like some hot dogs don't need anything. If the bun's right and all that.
Okay.
The Quebec ones, I don't know if you know, and you go to Montreal, the Forum, they're famous for these hot dogs. They don't need anything on them. But otherwise, you got to probably have a little ketchup.
All right. First of all, we have to have a different conversation about ketchup versus mustard. To me, I think once you get older than 7, you got to stop putting ketchup on a hot dog. But I did not hear that about the hot dogs in Montreal. But I'll have to go to Montreal. And
I'll tell you what, right now, if you ever talk to Kevin Weeks again, you have him on, ask him about the Montreal Forum when he was backing up a game and he had to go in, and he was in the locker room pounding St. Shows, they're called, the hot dogs, and he had ketchup on his jersey, and he had to go in and play. Ask him about that. Get his story about that.
That is hysterical. All right, let me ask you about this as we kind of wrap up the fun portion of this conversation. See, this is what you can expect. We'll have to come to an agreement on when to do a regular spot. Home Run Derby, Wimbledon, or the Open Championship, which is more likely to have your attention?
Oh, that's easy. That's not even. What do you think? I would say.
I think your answer is probably going to be the Open Championship.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. And I the home run thing. I'll flip it on for a second or two. It's kind of there's really nothing else on.
Right.
If I'm watching at that time of night, there's literally zero else to watch. So I watch it. But and then in the tennis, I just don't know any of these guys anymore. I was watching it the other day, and I'm an old school guy. When John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors stopped playing, I kind of lost interest. So that tells you how long ago.
That was a long time ago.
I've been flipping the page on the tennis. So definitely be the golf thing.
Okay. Well, the reason I brought it up because the athletes that play tennis, and Wimbledon is different because the points are so much shorter. But I think the French Open, the final was over 5 hours. Yeah. Could you perform an athletic event for 5 hours? Can you imagine that?
Yeah, you definitely could. I mean, that's when you're at the top of your game. I don't think I'd do it if it was for fun. But, if that's your job, then yeah, that'd be 100%. I'd be all in on that. But yeah, you're right. It's starting to. That's a long time to watch an event.
Yeah, I missed the first set and lost the rest of the day watching that. And it was an amazing match. The two best players in the world, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, who you may not know because you haven't watched since John McEnroe retired.
Right. I just started kind of watching this last weekend, so I caught up. But like I said, that's why I knew I was so outdated. So anyway,
for Father's Day, I got a pickleball set. Have you played pickleball yet?
Well, that's the hashtag old folks game that we have definitely transitioned into, and we have some great matches now. So actually, we actually, believe it or not, have one in my backyard.
Really?
We have a little sport court, and we play pickleball as a family. And Sean Hill and his family come over, and we have some good matches. So I actually enjoy it because obviously it's a lot easier than tennis.
I know Justin Williams is a good pickleballer.
Yeah, he's good at everything. Him and Jacob Slavin, they have some good matches. So yeah, that's been the new thing for sure.
All right, that has to be the new Canes, website deal. You have to have a team pickleball tournament, and they have to put it on the web.
No, I don't know. I don't think you'd be. At least it wouldn't be a 5-hour match. I can tell you that.
That is good. All right, sir. Thank you very much for this. I appreciate your time. We'll talk again very soon. We'll come to an agreement on a regular time spot.
Yeah, I was kind of joking, but yeah, okay. I know how it works. Whenever you're missing or you got some dead time, you ring me up. That's fine. It's all good.
All right, good. I'm glad you like that.
All right,
take care.
Brother.
Bye.
That was fantastic.
I was just kidding. I don't want to do it. Yeah, we'll do it. All right, one-timers are next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact Impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
If you are on Medicare, scammers may target you to steal your identity. Remember, Medicare will never call you asking for personal details. The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medicare Patrol program is here to protect you from fraud and provide you with knowledge to stay safe. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
You can be a wildlife hero. Did you know that visiting North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens in Asheboro supports efforts to protect wildlife and wild places? The North Carolina Zoo is a global leader in wildlife conservation, working to save endangered species of both plants and animals, such as elephants, red wolves, and gorillas. Plan a family-friendly day trip to the North Carolina Zoo to learn how you can join the mission to save endangered species from extinction. Learn more at nczoo.org.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is here, producing the program. Enjoy always chatting with Rod Brind'Amour. Interesting stuff.
That's so good.
Always good. Interesting stuff about the potential of either Jarvis or Stankoven ultimately moving to center. He's right. If that isn't going to happen, then there's only so many spots on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Carolina's got more players than they have spots if they don't move somebody to center. And somebody had asked me, we'll talk about it next hour about where Jesperi Kotkaniemi fits. And I'm not saying that Jesperi Kotkaniemi can't be here. I think he can. But we'll address all of that a little bit later on. Right now, one-timers.
Oh, and just so you know, I looked up what a Quebec hot dog was, and they call them steamies. They have a nickname. They're called steam. In case anyone was wondering, they're traditionally steamed, unlike grilled or fried hot dogs. So there you go. There you go.
Nothing for that.
No, but looking to YouTube, we do have a couple one-timers. So first up, with most of the team locked up on longer deals, will prospects only have a shot to break out if someone gets hurt?
Probably. But like last year, although there wasn't an automatic opening, Jackson Blake in the preseason forced his way onto the roster. And he played basically every game. So, prospects, let's just use Bradley Nadeau here, depends on your preseason. If you have a preseason that demands that you play, then you'll play. Then they'll find a spot. So it's you make your own path.
All right, next up from William. Let's see here. If Nashville is not good to start the year again, could the Canes trade for the goaltender Saros, and what would it take to get him?
They're not trading for UC Saros. I mean, they made their decision with him as their goalie a while back when they traded the future Askarov, who they drafted one spot ahead of, I believe, where Carolina drafted Seth Jarvis a few years ago. They might have taken. Had Askarov been there, Carolina might have taken him and not Jarvis. Possible. All right, next hour, I'll explain a little bit about center and the Hurricanes, and we'll talk football.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, it's Adam Gold for my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. I have known Gordon since 1999 when he told me about the no closing cost mortgage option. Great way to start a relationship. Hey, let me save you thousands of dollars when you either buy or refinance. And at that time, I was refinancing a home I had purchased about a year earlier. And what I did was I didn't pay closing costs, saved myself thousands, and lowered my monthly payment by about $200 a month at the time. I don't own that house anymore, but ultimately, I was able to refi that loan 3 times during the time I owned it, lowering my monthly payment each time, and I never paid a dime in closing costs. You could be me if you know Gordon Miller. Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, home of the original no closing cost mortgage. They have been in Cary since 1996. Miller Lending, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
When you look at the Carolina Hurricanes right now, at the end of last season to where they are right now, this team has gotten better. Nikolai Ehlers, 6-year contract, $8.5 million a year. They didn't break the bank, but they got a top-line forward that they needed. Keandre Miller, they got younger, they got faster, they got stronger on the blue line. They got a better team now, but they still have moves they can make.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
It's Bo time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Dick's Steal Days are happening now. You won't want to miss our biggest sale of the summer. Scorecard members earn a $20 bonus reward on your purchase of $150 or more. Plus 3 days of amazing savings start Tuesday. Check out offers from brands like Nike, Adidas, Hoka, and Stanley. And check back daily for new one-day deals Tuesday through Thursday. Score the season's hottest savings before they're gone on July 10th. Shop in the app and on Dix.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Players that come into college football now are professionals. College football has changed, and I think you can see many other schools having a model that's similar to the one that we have. You know, a general manager, head coach model. You see that in many basketball programs in college and also, you know, now in football. So that's what it is. It's pro football on a much monetarily smaller scale in terms of what each individual school is spending, but it's still, these kids they're being paid to play. And that's what college football is now.
That is very true. I saw a debate. That's Bill Belichick from the Carolina Insider podcast, GoHeels.com. We talked about that last week. But I saw an interesting debate's not really the right word. It was with all of the House settlement in and schools trying to figure out how they're going to distribute the revenue among schools, among sports. And there's some, I think, disturbing trends developing across, not about college football or basketball, but about the non-revenue sports. There are schools that are dropping sports because they feel like they have to, even though they didn't. You had them before all this money. What am I missing? But the Texas. I'll just cut to the story here. Texas Tech signed a prospective football player to a 3-year contract worth whatever it was. It was reported as $5.1 million, but when you break it down, it's not nearly that much. Certainly not a guarantee. And anyway, so Darren Ravel, who I've known a long time, has been on this program many, many times, was with ESPN and CNBC and Action Network, and has now started his own platform called Collect. More about memorabilia and the business, the indirect business side of sports. So he just replied or responded to that story with, well, he doesn't have to go to school anymore. Doesn't have to be a student anymore. And of course, because it's Ravel, and a lot of his takes, which are right or wrong, always get completely criticized and just blown up. A lot of people said, "No, man, there are still rules. There are still academic rules about this." And what's interesting to me in that I don't think Darren is as wrong as people think. I've said this before. The academic component of the deal that schools and athletes make, the value of that academic, the education, varies from player to player. Sometimes it's because of the player. A lot of times it's because of the school. You are there. Darren Rovell is not wrong. And Bill Belichick is not wrong. You're there to play. The academic part of this will get fit in around the sport. And it's not always to the benefit of the academics. They're going to keep you eligible. That doesn't mean they're going to educate. And those are two different things. This is not a criticism, it's a reality. But that's been the case for a long time. That isn't just the case now. Steve Logan, who has been with us, I don't know how many times. We used to have Steve on a couple of times a week and all that. He's had his idea in his head is that when you sign a scholar, we call it a scholarship, to go to a school, he said, like, you play for 4 years. You don't go to school. You just play. You're a football player at this school. But we will give you will have, when your football is done, you will get 6 years to complete your education. We don't have to give it to you now. But your education is there for you when you want it. There is merit to what Steve is talking about. I can absolutely see down the road a system in which when you commit to go to a school, you are there to play, and then when it's all over, you are, by all means, you are welcome to come back and get your education. Hey, you could start that, after college is over, after your college career, playing career is over. You could start. A lot of athletes come back during the off seasons and go to class, and go to school, complete their degrees. A lot of people. Vince Carter, didn't Vince Carter miss? He didn't miss a playoff game, I don't believe, but he went through graduation and then flew to wherever it is he was playing, I guess Toronto, and played in the playoff game. All of that is possible. So, but I thought that the whole debate about the academic element of this, based on what is happening with the new rules, the revenue sharing era of college sports, the whole thing is, I think, absolutely fascinating. But the truth is that it isn't really any different than it was before. The academics is, while not unimportant, it's as important as it's ever been, which is to say, it varies from player to player. All right, should we do a second take on news of the day? So we'll just go through some things, some NFL things that we're going to get into with John Breech in about 15 minutes from CBS. Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Falcons, feels like he was misled by the team. He signed the free agent contract, right? Remember, he was with Minnesota for a bunch of years. Then he signed the free agent contract coming off an Achilles tear.
Yes.
Signed the free agent contract with the Falcons, and then Atlanta went and drafted Michael Penix. And Cousins said he was misled. I think I did an interview with wherever it was, misled by the team, because if he had known that they were going to draft a quarterback, then it would have influenced his decision as to where he would have played. I would point to Mike Glennon for the Chicago Bears. There was a time when Glennon was supposed to be the starting quarterback. In fact, he signed a free agent contract with the Bears, then went to Wrigley Field and threw out the first pitch, and then helped the team at a draft party.
Right.
And watched as they drafted Mitch Trubisky.
Wow.
And Mike went, huh?
Excuse you?
What? The rest is the rest. So I get where Cousins is coming from. But if you were better, and it wasn't like he was bad,
No.
but if you were better, Michael Penix wouldn't have played until this year.
Yeah.
But misled?
I know. How much time do you think you still have, Kirk?
You're a lot. You're pretty old, and it's not like, I mean, you were a very good quarterback. We would all kill for Kirk Cousins' playing career. I'm not talking about the finances, because he goes into the business of the NFL Hall of Fame. No quarterback has ever made more money while being this mid as Kirk Cousins. It is remarkable. One other thing that struck me from the news, NFL news from today. So Joe Burrow was apparently contemplating purchasing a Batmobile.
Oh, yeah, I thought he already had one.
No, I
Didn't
don't
it get
believe so.
stolen?
No, the Batmobile didn't, but when he was contemplating buying it, he was his house was broken into.
Yes.
And he was robbed of, I don't even know what they took. And he said that prevented him from buying a Batmobile.
Okay.
And I would just say, why? Because the Batmobile, you know what the Batmobile cost?
Probably a lot.
Give a figure.
Let's see. I know it's in the millions with an M, so let's just throw out, I don't know, $5 million.
$3 million.
Whoa.
That's many more million
Yeah.
that you should ever on any planet spend on an automobile.
They make a Lego version. Just build you one. It's much cheaper.
Buy a yacht.
Yeah.
Although you could spend a lot more than $3 million on a yacht.
Yes, you can. Wow.
Why?
Where are you driving
would
that
you
thing?
buy a Batmobile?
Are you going to the grocery store in your Batmobile? What are we doing in this Batmobile?
So I'm reading this story going, what? Why would you buy that?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, this is also the same quarterback that bought samurai swords or katanas or something like that for his offensive line.
His offensive
which
line.
is cool, but
I can see there is like a martial arts element, ancient Far Eastern.
Sure.
Like, what are you doing with a bat? What?
Who knows? He's a big fan.
Yeah.
Now I need to know which Batman, though. You know he's got a favorite. Is it the 90s Batman? Is it the older than that Jack Batman?
There are too many Batman.
There's a lot of Batman.
There is only one Batman, and that is Adam West from the television show
With
from
his
the
tidy
70s. Gosh, that was a great show.
See, I'm a Michael Keaton one. That's me.
Of the movie Batman.
Yeah.
Batman? Of the movie Batman.
The group.
That is the one.
Yes.
For me.
Yeah.
Right? That is the one for me.
It's the best.
Not Val Kilmer, R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
Not George Clooney was Batman too, right?
I think so.
Michael Keaton. That's a good Batman. But Adam West is the actual correct answer.
Yeah.
A show, by the way, that was way better than people think.
There's so many of them. Christian Bale.
Yeah, no.
Robert Pattinson.
Who?
No, definitely not. He's Sparkles. That's the Twilight guy.
We'll skip that. All right. Before we get to John Breech is going to join us in our next segment about 5 or so minutes from now. We're going to talk about the NFL and quarterbacks. I'll ask him about Kirk Cousins and what his thoughts are. He's a Bengals fan too. So what are his thoughts on Joe Burrow not buying the Batmobile ultimately? NFL.com is putting out their top 100 players in the league today. Top 100 NFL players today. And maybe this is why when we think about where the Panthers want to get to, Because if you think, well, I wonder how many Panthers will be in the top 100. I say the answer is 0. They're just not there yet. Let's see what happens this year. Let's see what Bryce Young looks like. Let's see what Derek Brown comes back. I think Brown would have the best chance of being a top 100 player for Carolina today. We'll see what the wide receiver, right?
Oh yeah,
McMillan.
Tetero.
We'll see what Tetero and McMillan looks like. Does he get into that mix? By the way, Pete Prisco for CBS did his own list, and I think, what did I see? I saw Drake London in the last 100, and that was the comparison for Tetero and McMillan was Drake London, who plays for the Falcons. But he had 0 Panthers in his list. But I don't know if his list and the NFL.com's list will be in any way, shape, or form similar. Yeah. But I am curious. Of course, they're dragging out the reveal here. The top 10 players won't come out until beginning of September.
Oh, of course.
Come on. Let's do that now. It's summer. We need things to talk about. The Summer Stupid Series, where we will discuss quarterbacks and their levels of pressure with John Breech from CBSSports.com is next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here with some great news. Win Your Weight in Meat is back on 99.9 The Fan. Text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 and enter to be one of our finalists. Through July 18th, we'll pick 10 people to come on air during the drive from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, and share their weight. Then, on July 21st, we will randomly select one lucky winner, and they will score their weight in meat. Served up by our friends with the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Last weekend was 4th of July weekend, but have you really started your summer off with a bang? I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and one of my favorite summertime activities is breaking the motorcycle out and enjoying this beautiful weather and longer days. And if you did any traveling this past weekend, then you know you are not the only one with the idea of hitting the road for an adventure. Unfortunately, that creates more opportunity for someone to be distracted while driving and possibly cause an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault. However, if you are ever in this situation, always remember to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they understand everything. They know the value of your bike, your gear, and the investment that you've made. And with Law Tigers, case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update. Quarterfinal matches are underway at Wimbledon. It was a close call for world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, who avoided a major upset today. After dropping the first set, Sabalenka came back to beat Germany's Laura Siegemund 4-6, 6-2, 6-4. The three-time Grand Slam champ at one point was so frustrated, she smashed her racket against the net, receiving boos from the crowd. Her next opponent will be 13th-seeded American Amanda Anisimova. She advanced to the semifinals, defeating 34-year-old Russian Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova 6-1, 7-6. It was an epic tiebreak that lasted almost 15 minutes. Going on right now on center court, second-seeded Carlos Alcaraz is continuing his pursuit of a third-straight Wimbledon title as he leads Britt Cameron Norrie in the second set. Earlier, fifth-seeded American Taylor Fritz moved on to the semis with a 4-set victory over Karen Khachanov. With this tennis update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone! Come back! It's my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life! Come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
I'm really excited about next season, considering this was supposed to be a rebuild year. But with these new guys, like Bradley Nadeau, we've got Nikishin coming eventually. If we've got Hall still here, Jackson Blake, there's so much promise and potential. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, and just wait till the big kid gets ready to play.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. We're less than a month away from NFL training camps really kicking into high gear, and the exhibition season is almost upon us. And John Breech, NFL writer, CBSSports.com, is with us. How geeked are you for training camp coverage, sir?
Gold, we have 23 days until the first preseason game, and I think the Chargers rookies report the training camp this weekend. I'm geeked, man. I'm already ready. The countdown's clearly already started here.
23 days to the first preseason game. Who is it?
Lions-Chargers Hall of Fame game. Let's do it.
Oh, that is very, very exciting. I love preseason football like I love well, never mind. All right, let's. I texted you this question, and this is not to say that it's a stupid conversation, because none of these things are stupid. It's just one of those dopey sports radio questions. So I'm terming it the Summer Stupid Series. Today is John Breech. So I appreciate you playing along. Which quarterback going into this season has the most pressure on him?
Gold, let me just say I'm glad you gave me a heads up on this question because I ended up making tiers. I did my homework here. I have tiers of pressure because I think there are different quarterbacks that are going to feel pressure in different ways. Let's start off with who's under the most pressure to win a Super Bowl. I think that's Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Those are two guys that haven't been able to get – they're not worried about losing their jobs. If they don't win a playoff game this year – they're going to be starting in Buffalo and Baltimore for the next decade. So they're not worried about losing their job. But, hey, you've got the MVPs, but they haven't been able to knock off Patrick Mahomes. They haven't been able to get through the AFC title game. They haven't even been able to get to the Super Bowl. So I think that is an issue one of those two guys needs to that's the monkey on their back. And then let's go one tier down. Who's under the most pressure to win a playoff game? I would put Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott in that tier. We talked about the Commanders just getting to the NFC Championship last year. So now every single NFC team has been to the NFC title game since 2010, except for the Dallas Cowboys. So I think Dak Prescott needs to get them over that hump. And we saw Justin Herbert melt down in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And then, look, let's get to the guys who need a great year to keep the starting job, and they are arguably under the most pressure. And that's now we're getting to the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, I think this is a huge year for him, obviously, because if he doesn't look as good as he did at the end of last season, if he plays like Bryce Young earlier in his career, he's probably not going to last in Carolina much longer. And then I'll end with the guys who need to earn their paycheck and could potentially lose their starting job in the next year or two. That is Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa.
I think you and I, by the way, John Breech, CBS Sports, I appreciate you doing your homework. It was not my intent to give you an assignment that would take thought and preparation. But you have already determined that you're counting down to the Lions and Chargers for the Hall of Fame game. So obviously there was time. You had time to do it. So I appreciate that. I'm interested because I agree with everything you just said. I am curious where Aaron Rodgers fits into this conversation, because I would argue that the pressure isn't as much on Aaron Rodgers as it seems to be on Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, because I don't know that Rodgers will be viewed differently if he's not able to take Pittsburgh to another level, but maybe Tomlin and Smith will.
Yeah, see, that one, I think Aaron Rodgers is a little bit harder to classify because you do have kind of last year's – the Steelers know what they're getting with Aaron Rodgers. They're not getting a guy in his prime. They're getting a guy on the tail end of his career. So there's no guarantee he's going to go out there and lead you to the playoffs. But I will say there's pressure on Aaron Rodgers in the sense that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. He has managed to finish over 500 no matter who his quarterback has been. The guy has had Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields last year, Russell Wilson. It just doesn't matter. So if Aaron Rodgers becomes that guy to end that streak, that might be a little black eye on his legacy. So if they don't get to at least 9-8, I think that's where you could see the impact with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, the Steelers want to get to the playoffs. They're all in. So I do think there's a little bit pressure. But like you said, I think there's more pressure on the coach and the front office to prove that going all in with a 41-year-old quarterback actually makes sense.
And by the way, and I am Team Tomlin, none of it made sense to me. The fact that Pittsburgh – I go back to – and John Breech from CBS Sports is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, at John Breech on Twitter. I go back to when Kirk Cousins was still in Washington and how Washington didn't want to commit long-term. They were willing to pay him a lot of money for a year and then another year with the NFL salary mechanisms. But they weren't willing to commit. But at the same time, they weren't paving the way for his exit by grooming a quarterback of the future. Never figured that out. Why hasn't Pittsburgh, especially toward the end of Roethlisberger, why weren't they, because it's a smart organization, why weren't they laying the groundwork for the next guy?
Well, I think that they thought Ben Roethlisberger was just going to be there. He's one of those guys that you're not going to get rid of. You're just going to let him play till the wheels fall off, and that's kind of what happened. And so then you start looking at, if you're the Steelers, when do we start drafting a quarterback, or when do we start taking that seriously? Because we know Roethlisberger is getting up there in age, and they didn't do it until 2022, obviously, when they took Kenny Pickett. So they did have kind of that gap year where they said, you know what, let's go out and find someone. I think that's when they got Mitchell Trubisky, and they probably figured they could go out and get a veteran. Now, 4 years into it, you kind of don't have that excuse. But I think that, again, they've been finishing over 500. They've been making the playoffs. So at this point, Tomlin probably feels we're a quarterback away. I can get this team to the playoffs, but we got to have a quarterback to be a Super Bowl contender. And so now here they are. Because like you just said with the Roethlisberger stuff, no matter what Rodgers does this year, he's probably only playing 1 year. So they're going to be back at square one with the quarterback situation next year. They're going to be back in purgatory and then back to figuring out what they have to do, back to the drawing board. So this is going to be an interesting year in Pittsburgh.
What's interesting, you said they're going to, Roethlisberger was a guy who was going to play till the wheels fell off. He played without wheels for maybe the last 3 or 4 years of his career. No mention of Joe Burrow. So I know you have Bengals in your blood. So explain to me where on this spectrum Burrow fits.
Well, Burrow is a little bit different because I don't think he has the same pressure as Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, because he's been to the Super Bowl. He's already got that under his belt. Obviously, the Bengals would love to win a Super Bowl, but I also don't think that anybody views the Bengals as the best team in the AFC. I think if you rank those teams, that most people have the Bengals below the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens. So they're not in that, hey, this team should automatically win the Super Bowl tier. And I also think he got the benefit of the doubt last year because he was coming off an unprecedented wrist injury where he tore that ligament. Nobody knew what he was going to look like. And so, I mean, Burrow has pressure. I think people obviously, the Bengals finishing 9-8, 2 straight seasons, that's not acceptable for a team with that kind of talent. So obviously there is pressure for him to get that team back to the playoffs, at least, since they haven't gone in each of the past 2 seasons. And I think that's where Burrow is. If they get to the divisional round of the playoffs, I think fans in Cincinnati be like, okay, that's a fine season. Obviously, fans would love if the Bengals won the Super Bowl, but I don't think they have that same kind of pressure that, say, the Bills or the Ravens have.
I found it interesting, and I agreed 100% because I listed Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott together on my pressure meter, if you will. Dak has been a very good quarterback for a very long time that has not done anything in the postseason. That's got to happen at some point. Of course, I'm not even sure that the pressure is on Dak as much as it's on Jera and the new regime there. And Justin Herbert has zero. It's not just zero playoff wins because I'm not a wins or a quarterback stat guy because I don't think they are. It's really about the team. But they have done. He's basically a 500 quarterback for his career. And while they had a good year last year and he was amazing, man, when they got to the playoffs, they were just so bad. I don't know if it was him or just the team in general. I just can't explain how they were just so bad in a playoff game. It almost looked like the moment was too big for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at both of Justin Herbert's playoff games. Remember the first one against against Jaguars, they blew a 27-0 lead, and Herbert didn't play very well in that game. The Chargers put up 27 points in that first half because Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions, so he kind of gifted them all of those scores. And so it's kind of like, and not to put Justin Herbert in the same category as Andy Dalton because he's a much, much better quarterback, but it's kind of where Dalton would just kind of struggle every time they got to the playoffs for whatever reason. And so that's what we've kind of seen from Justin Herbert. It's only a 2-game sample size. It's not huge, and the Chargers can certainly get over the hump. But you see Jim Harbaugh's out there kind of building this offense that can run the ball, and it feels like he's doing that because he knows, hey, we can't have all the pressure on the quarterback when we get to the postseason. We got to take some of the pressure off. We got to be able to run the ball. So I feel like Harbaugh is building a team that he thinks can win in the postseason. Obviously, he knows how to do that because he went to 3 straight NFC title games with the 49ers.
I think don't you think people kind of sleep on just how great a coach Jim Harbaugh is, because he was so good in San Francisco. I know, didn't win a Super Bowl. I get it. Got there, lost to his brother, and then went to Michigan and turned. I mean, if you could have to turn Michigan around, I guess he did it. But Michigan was, they couldn't beat Ohio State, and he had a hard time beating Ohio State and Michigan State at first, and then he turned them into a machine. I just think people sleep on how good a coach he is.
Yeah, which is amazing because everywhere he's gone, he's been successful. And you go back to Stanford and Andrew Luck, and he's leading them to bowl games and kind of flipped that program around. Then he took the 49ers job and had it for 4 seasons and went to the NFC title game in 3 straight seasons, which is very, very difficult to do in the NFL. And, of course, they only got to 1 Super Bowl, as you said, didn't win one. So, and then the national title at Michigan. So every level he's at, he's been successful. It's because his philosophy works, which is, hey, look, I'm going to run the ball, I'm going to play good defense, and if I have a talented quarterback, that's a plus. So I think he's just trying to build this team, and unfortunately, he's stuck in the same division as Patrick Mahomes. Otherwise, the Chargers might be even a little bit better.
Yeah, he also won at UC San Diego, which, I mean, I don't know that they've got a pedigree of winning football out there, but that's where he started. Then went to Stanford. And yeah, he turned that program into at the time it was a BCS era of college football. He turned them into a BCS level team. John Breech is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. 2 more things and then we'll let you go. First is the back to Joe Burrow for a second. I read the story today where the burglary at his house prevented him from buying a Batmobile. How do you process that story? Nobody is happy to be robbed, but it probably saved him $3 million in a totally unnecessary purchase.
Also, $3 million in insurance money he's likely saving there. I'm not sure how much it costs to insure a Batmobile, but so on Hard Knocks, yeah, I mean, it's got to be an insanely high price. But you look at Hard Knocks last year when they featured the AFC North, Burrow was kind of caught on the hot mic saying, hey, guys, I just spent $2.9 million on a Batmobile, and it turns out that, hey, look, he decided not to make the purchase, or he got the money back or whatever. He got a refund after his home got burglarized. And look, Joe Burrow's a private guy, so I do understand why he doesn't like that people now know where he lives, where his house is, because reporters were camped out there for the whole week following that burglary. So I get it, but man, that would have been pretty cool if you lived in Cincinnati and you see Burrow just cruising through downtown in his Batmobile. So I feel like everyone loses with that one.
All right, final thing for John Breech. I know the NFL.com is putting out their top 100 players in the league this year, and my guess is there will be no Panthers on it. But that's not. I mean, it's not easy. You've got if every team was distributed evenly, the most you'd get is 3. Panthers have been bad for a long time. Maybe Derek Brown will get it, but Pete Prisco put out his list. I think it was published on the 3rd of July. Did you have any major beefs with Prisco's list, which had Patrick Mahomes still number 1?
I think I did have one, and I sent a text or something to Pete, and it's not a huge beef, but he did not have Matthew Stafford on his list. And look, Matthew Stafford he had Jared Goff on the list, by the way,
right,
but not Matthew Stafford. So he ranked 11 quarterbacks. Stafford has a Super Bowl win, and the Rams only won it because they traded for him. I think he's probably a top 10 quarterback. I'm not going to put him in the top 5 because he's getting a little bit older. I don't think he's quite at that level anymore, but I have a hard time saying that there are 100 better players are more important or more valuable players than Matthew Stafford in the NFL. So I would say that was my biggest surprise on his list.
Yeah, last quarterback in his ranking, I believe, was number 91 in Tua, who's got his own issues to deal with, and so do the Miami Dolphins and all of that. John Breech, I appreciate you joining us for our first Summer Stupid Series conversations of the offseason. I appreciate your time. 23 days, and you can cover Lions-Chargers.
23 days. Thanks for having me, Gold.
You're the man. I appreciate it, John. John Breech, at John Breech on Twitter. I want to get into something he mentioned about Bryce Young, because he's right about Bryce Young. I don't anticipate Bryce taking major steps back. I think we saw the Bryce Young toward the end of the season that made us all go, okay, now we have something that we can work with. 2 ways to look at it. Because I know, because I've already had these conversations on the air with people who have pushed back immediately. I think it is fair, and I take this position. I'm not sure what value to assign these late season performances because they were 100% void of stakes. There were no consequences other than his own performance. Right? They didn't win most of these games, right? In fact, I think they only won one of them, maybe 2 of them. But the truth of the matter is that when your season is over, sometimes when you are playing teams whose season is also over, the outcome of the game is immaterial. I'm not saying there was no value to what he did. So there's a lot of room between me saying, I wonder how much value you can place on something, and no value. There's a lot of room there. You can assign full value to it. I'm not going to argue with you. It's just my own questions in my mind. I go, all right, their season was over. They're mathematically eliminated and have been eliminated for some time. Some of the teams are playing against, blah, blah, blah. So I wonder just what it means that he looks so good. And in a lot of the games where he looked good, it was kind of sporadic. But you know where he was good? He was good late in a lot of these games. You go back, was it the Chiefs game where they frankly could have won?
Should have won that game.
How many late game drives did Bryce Young engineer to put them in position to win even when they didn't win. Like, there's a lot of value to that. But that is just like one moment in a game. He wasn't that type of a quarterback from the beginning of the game. Now, in the last couple, we started to see full on what we expect, hopefully, to see this upcoming year. So I get what John was saying, because with these rookie quarterbacks, and Caleb Williams will experience this in a year, not this year, in a year. Jaden Daniels, look, I think we all watched Daniels last year, and I think we all have the same opinion of him in that, oh yeah, he's legit. He's going to be here a long time. So I don't know that I put Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams in the same category. Williams has to show something this year. And then next year will be the real prove it. And because you can pick up 50-year options and go a long way towards locking guys up forever after 3 years, this is the time where this is the year that Bryce Young will show the Panthers who he is as a quarterback. Can you count on him going forward? And the organization will decide at this point, all right, what kind of contract are we looking at? And once you decide he is our guy, sign him. And this will be the season where the Panthers have to ask and answer that question. If you are kicking it down the road, if you are playing it as, I'll make that decision after next year or sometime during next year, you've already made your decision. Year 3 for these quarterbacks, this is your time. So for Bryce Young, this is the year. This is the year where you will tell the Panthers, the fan base, the critics, who you are and how the organization should treat you. I don't think Bryce will get, maybe because of his size, I don't think Bryce will get the benefit of the doubt that Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert have gotten. Because those two guys, and they're both similar because they're both 6'6", movie star caliber, good looks, all of that. They're right out of central casting for franchise quarterbacks. At best, their performance has been okay. That's it. Bryce Young will never get that benefit of the doubt. He's 5'10" as opposed to their being 6'6". And he also started off with a horrific year, whereas Herbert, and to a lesser extent Lawrence, of course Lawrence was held back by Urban Meyer as the head coach. But those guys were at, to be fair, they just looked like rookies. They didn't look like, gosh, can he play? Whereas Bryce Young had to deal with that. Not only are you a rookie, but there were doubts whether or not you could play. I don't think we have those doubts, but now it's about figuring out what Bryce Young is, and that will happen in year 3. All right, we will stretch and place bets. Hopefully, I will not lose my wager before the show ends like happened yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact Connect program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Did you know Medicare fraud is costing us $68 billion a year? The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medical Patrol Program's goal is to reduce Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. If you suspect any billing or Medicare fraud issues, we're here to help. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Voted best zoo in the nation, North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens is centrally located in the heart of North Carolina. Bring your family to Asheboro for an affordable day trip or weekend excursion to connect with nature and make cherished memories. Discover towering giraffes, pouncing sandcats, and diving seabirds at the world's largest natural habitat zoo. Roam with rhinos on Zoofari or flutter by the exotic butterfly garden during your next visit. Explore more possibilities at nczoo.org.
This is Adam Gold.
I have so many questions too. Like, is the mom going to be in the business too? Are we going to have like themed UNC products? She's in it, so.
Interesting ram horn you've got there.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I lost my tennis bet.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, Sinner came back and I guess he won that match over Grigor Dimitrov.
Oh.
But he lost because Sinner plays Ben Shelton today. So, but I wagered that Sinner would straight sets win that match. He had to come back from, I believe, 2 sets down over to beat Grigor Dimitrov.
Yeah.
But, all right, that's not how I had it playing out. Anyway.
Yeah, it happens.
First we'll stretch, then we'll wager.
Well, so I played Pearl Jam for a reason because people who are a fan of Pearl Jam, I think they were here recently too, locally in Raleigh, but their drummer of 27 years Matt Cameron is leaving. So, and they have no idea why, or at least they haven't said. They just said it's a friendly parting, which usually doesn't happen with bands. So that's a good thing. But Matt recently said, much love and respect for Jeff, Ed, Mike, and Stone for inviting me into the band in 1998 and for giving me the opportunity of a lifetime, one filled with friendships, artistry, challenges, and laughter. And I feel like the challenges maybe why he's leaving. But the band also said some very kind things about him. So Matt, if you did not know this, used to play with Soundgarden, and he is now he will be a 2-time Rock and Roll Hall of Famer by the end of the year. So yeah, he was in Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, and that'll happen in November, which will probably have Rick. Is it the guy who comes on for
Rick French?
Yes, for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So he might talk about that. But yeah, if you are a Pearl Jam fan, I know they were here locally. It was probably good that you saw them when you did because Matt is done. And I don't know if this will be good to see, though, because I always like to see what kind of new products are coming out. And, you know, there's always something new. And this is just a new cereal, which kind of intriguing.
New cereal.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Rod Brind'Amour would eat something like this. So Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Have you ever had that? Yeah. Okay. Delicious cereal.
It's fine, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that other than all the sugar. But
they've all got sugar.
They all
Honey
have
Nut
it.
Cheerios has sugar.
It does. Like
if you want taste in your cereal,
yes,
you're going to have sugar.
Other than cardboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, no, just straight Cheerios
and
ahead. Cornflakes? No. No. Well, they are partnering with Hormel to make a bacon-flavored cereal, but they're keeping the cinnamon sugar, too.
What?
So they're combining for a sweet, savory product. And, of course, you can get it at Walmart now, which at first I thought, yeah, I don't know. I do like sweet savory, but I don't know. This will probably not help the situation because they're not adding real bacon. It's just it's artificial bacon flavor.
What are they going to put becon bits in it, like chocolate chips?
You should just sprinkle it on there, like blueberries in your yogurt. Just see, that's what people need to do instead of eating this. But yeah, if you want to try this new concoction, you can go to the Walmart and get you some. Now, they're only selling them in smaller boxes, which is probably a good thing for your health. So yeah, but it's going to cost you probably the cost of a real one. But yeah, I don't know. I guess they got bored.
This is really an over-infatuation with bacon.
I know. Do you feel like that's kind of gone away? Because you remember back in the day, they were putting bacon in and on everything.
We actually, a long time ago, in a different iteration of this program, we did an overrated draft.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Bacon was one of my selections.
Okay.
Right? And it's not that I don't love bacon. I love bacon. But it's not nearly as good as people think. It's just, it's good. It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
But bacon on everything is not that great.
Bacon dominated the state fair for at least 2 years in a row.
And ice cream.
I know.
Well, let's get out of here. So I like bacon and sweet. I get that. Right. Syrup, maple syrup with
and
bacon.
Real bacon, too.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is tremendous. You lose me when you pour milk on it. Now we can get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know about that whole situation. So yeah, if you though want to, you can get that today. Starting today, it's a legitimate thing. But another legitimate thing, hopefully, is placing some good bets.
Yes.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
Again, I wish I would have put real money on these things.
Right.
Because yesterday I picked the Blue Jays and over 8.5. Check for plus 170. I also took the Royals over 9. Check plus 195. Schwarber did not hit a home run.
No.
So that did not come through. But as soon as I slap real money on it, though, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out which things I did yesterday. Because I don't know. I don't remember. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Because I didn't put the only thing I bet on was the tennis.
Oh,
and I lost that.
Yeah.
So we'll move on.
Well, I'll kick things off with an underdog because Seattle has been doing very well recently, and the New York Yankees not as much. Well, they're in New York, so give me Seattle to win that one, and I'll take the underdogs at plus 110.
Very nice. All right, we're going to start here. We have tennis tomorrow. The men's quarterfinal between the top seed Jannik Sinner, who came back from 2 sets down to beat Grigor Dimitrov yesterday, against American Ben Shelton, trying to be the second American man into the semifinals. Shelton's plus 270. He gets it done. Give me Ben. All right, go Ben. Plus 270.
Yeah, go
Fun
Ben.
to watch, by the way. A little bit crazy, but fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this will be fun to watch because my Cubbies are back at it today. They're in Minnesota taking on the Twins, though. Give me the snubbed Seiya Suzuki. He should be in the All-Star game, but you know what? That's fine. That's fine, Suzuki. You just rest up and get us to hopefully deeper places in the playoffs. So give me him to hit a home run today because he's real good at that. Plus 300.
That's very good.
I know.
Good value. Good value. Women's quarterfinal tomorrow. Mira Andreeva and Belinda Bencic. We're going to go with Bencic at plus 185 to win that match.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just because I want the White Sox to lose again, give me the Blue Jays, and I'll take the over 8.5 plus 155.
All right. Now, finally, Club World Cup. The first of the 2 semifinals today. From the Brazilian League, Fluminense and Chelsea. From the Premier League, Chelsea's a huge favorite. I think Fluminense nicks them here in regular time, plus 490.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
When you look at the Carolina Hurricanes right now, at the end of last season to where they are right now, this team has gotten better. Nikolai Ehlers, 6-year contract, $8.5 million a year. They didn't break the bank, but they got a top-line forward that they needed. Keandre Miller, they got younger, they got faster, they got stronger on the blue line. They got a better team now, but they still have moves they can make.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teens require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
Whether we're a CEO, manager,
coworker,
or someone with a mental health condition ourselves.
So what can I do to help?
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Dick's Deal Days are happening now. You won't want to miss our biggest sale of the summer. Scorecard members earn a $20 bonus reward on your purchase of $150 or more. Plus, 3 days of amazing savings start Tuesday. Check out offers from brands like Nike, Adidas, Hoka, and Stanley. And check back daily for new one-day deals Tuesday through Thursday. Score the season's hottest savings before they're gone on July 10th. Shop in the app and on Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Whatever the reason, he's at 6 years. He's a guy I think that fits, just like Keandre Miller. I think he fits what you want to do in Carolina. He's a really good skater. Every once in a while he gets banged up, so that's been more so over the last, I think, 2 years. So he's missed some games in there, but he's a good offensive player. He's a good skater. I think he fits what they want to do. And the best part of it is, Adam, he wants to be there.
Yeah. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. That was EJ Raddick from yesterday's program. We talked to Rod Brind'Amour earlier today. We may or may not have an encore presentation of that coming up near the bottom of the hour. I am Adam Gold. This is the Adam Gold Show. Victoria is here. You can always experience this show through the wonder and merriment of YouTube.
Like my mom.
And
she watches us on YouTube.
My mother-in-law.
Hi, Mom. Love
also,
you. Yeah.
Got a text from my mother-in-law, who's a big Duke fan, who loved our conversation with Mike Krzyzewski last week.
Oh, good.
So, yes. I did not give her a heads up, but I didn't need to.
Yeah, well, what a surprise.
So, shouts to you at the cottage. Anyway, we're always on YouTube, 12 to 3 every day. You can go to YouTube and then search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. Either way, that'll get you to us. Also, if you are so inclined, first of all, we have the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. You can always rate, subscribe to that, like it, do whatever you have to do. Rate, review, let us know what you think. And I would say the same thing about the Canes Corner podcast. And I believe I have done, after the season ended, back at the end of May, I think I've done 5 since the season ended. We did one Sunday after the Nick Ehlers free agent acquisition. We looked at a lot of different things, and we talked to Rod earlier, talked about the potential at center, and I'll probably get into a little bit of that either before or probably before we talk. Actually, let me just bring it up now here rather than tease it for later. Because there is an assumption, and we didn't talk to Rod about Jesperi Kotkaniemi. We don't really need to have that conversation now with him. Kotkaniemi, unless he's part of a trade, is going to be on the roster and is going to have a chance to play and probably will play. But when I talked to Rod about the potential of moving either Seth Jarvis or Logan Stankoven to center, he said, yeah, it's something we're thinking about. Because they frankly have to. The reason they have to is because Kotkaniemi hasn't become what they would like as a second center. Just hasn't done it. And we can point to time on ice and power play time and all of that. You earn both of those through your play at 5-on-5. It is not a gift. Well, in some ways it is with Andre. But it's not a gift for most everybody else. You have to earn that time. And Kotkaniemi hasn't earned it. It's pretty simple. When you earn it, you'll get it. And if you earn it, you'll get it. And then when you perform, you'll keep it. It's not rocket science. Nobody gifted Jackson Blake a spot in the lineup last year. He went to training camp. He gave the coaching staff no choice but to keep him on the team, and then, through his play over the course of the season, demanded more ice time.
Totally earned it.
Right? I promise you, at the beginning of the preseason, my conversations with Rod were, yeah, he looks all right. It's intriguing. And then, all of a sudden, he keeps playing preseason games. We see him in occasional practices that we were able to see, that I was able to see, and you go, okay, yeah, the guy's got something. And then in the preseason, he was arguably their best player. And then early in the season, even in limited role, because he started on the fourth line, you went, guy looks like he might be able to play. And Rod kept saying, yeah, at some point we might have to, give him a look with better players. It took a while, but ultimately that happened. And what happened by the end of the season? When Carolina sat a whole bunch of veterans for the last 2 or 3 or whatever games they were, Jackson Blake also didn't play. So you're telling me that a guy who wasn't expected to even make the team became somebody they could not afford to lose by the end of the year. Granted, in the playoffs, wasn't a great playoffs for Jackson. The game got a little too big for him. Not the moment, the game. The actual physical part of the game got a little bit too big for him, and he was justifiably reduced in his impact in the, where he was in the lineup and all of that, because that had to happen. Big offseason for him to get stronger, not necessarily bigger, although bigger, not taller, probably not getting taller. But a big offseason for him to become more physically capable of handling it, and I look forward to year 2. But my point is that for anybody using, well, Kotkaniemi's not getting the time. He's not getting the power play opportunities. Earn it. I mean, it's not that hard. Or, not that hard to do. It's hard to do. It's not that hard to understand why Kotkaniemi has not, we'll call it, graduated to that point. It's on him. I said this on Twitter the other day. It will forever be baffling to me why the group of people who stand for Jesperi don't wonder why this isn't, or not that they don't wonder, why they don't understand that it's about him, not the head coach. The head coach wants to win. There is a cottage industry of people who think that Rod doesn't. Baffles me. I forgot to ask Rod about Brent Burns. I'm very upset about that.
I know.
Next time.
Well, I was going to say, we know he doesn't like to lose because that's why I won't do a hot dog eating contest.
True. Next time we talk to Rod about whatever, pickleball.
Yes.
We'll bring up Brent Burns. Anyway, the head coach wants to win. as much or more than anybody, he wants to win. He's going to put the players on the ice that he believes helps them win. Now, with that said, if they move Jarvis to center, we're talking about the potential, if they don't do that, wings drop down. If they move Jarvis to center, now the debate becomes very simple. It becomes Kotkaniemi or Jankowski, who stays in the lineup. And I will say this. To start the year, I think it's an easy one. To start the year, it would be Kotkaniemi. He would get that nod. And he would have the right to earn his spot. But I've watched too many Hurricanes games where Kotkaniemi kind of fades in and out of what he is supposed to be doing. Even in games where he plays well and does good things. And by the way, there are a number of people grasping at the good and say, oh, he's playing great. Well, he certainly had a couple of good shifts. But there's too much not great in his game. He's got to get that out. There's got to be more consistency to Kotkaniemi, even within the games where he plays well. We want him to do well because we want the Hurricanes to do well. The easiest thing would be for him to play well. Carolina's not buying him out. They don't buy anybody out. Could they trade him? Yeah. They could trade him as part of something bigger. But I don't think they're just dumping him somewhere. I really don't. With all that said, to me, it's entirely on Kotkaniemi. This offseason, and I was there at the exit meeting, and Kotkaniemi, when it was his turn to meet the media, you could tell. He was looking for the exit. He was not interested in answering questions. I don't blame him. It was a tough year for him. And he probably heard some things he didn't want to hear from Rod Brind'Amour and Eric Tulsky or whoever does the exit meetings. Big offseason for him and a big training camp coming up for him. All right, when we come back, Sean Nahas, head coach, North Carolina Courage. They have won 2 in a row, and now they don't play till August? Ick. Next.
From the heels,
Touchdown, Carolina!
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here with some great news. Win Your Weight in Meat is back on 99.9 The Fan. Text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 and enter to be one of our finalists. Through July 18th, we'll pick 10 people to come on air during the drive from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, and share their weight. Then, on July 21st, we will randomly select one lucky winner, and they will score their weight in meat. Served up by our friends with the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Gary, home of the original no closing cost mortgage that will save you thousands when you buy a house. Have you seen rates lately? Let's not look. We know they're too high, but they'll come down. But you're going to buy that house now anyway, or you need to refinance, pull some equity out of the home anyway. Don't worry about what the rate is. It'll drop. And now, with Miller Lending, when you don't have to pay closing costs and you save yourself thousands of dollars, you can refinance free of charge when the rates come down with a clear mind because you didn't waste thousands of dollars before. Here's what you're doing when you are paying closing costs. You are saying to the entire closing cost paying world that the rates will not drop in 8 years. Are you joking? Of course, they'll drop several times in 8 years. In fact, they'll probably drop in the next year. Miller Lending, home of the original no closing cost mortgage, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update. Mission accomplished for the Americans on day 9. Amanda Anisimova and Taylor Fritz both advanced to the Wimbledon semifinals. Anisimova beat Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova 6-1, 7-6. The 24-year-old Jersey native moves on to play world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, who rallied to beat Germany's Laura Siegemund in 3 sets. Looking ahead, Sabalenka knows Anisimova will be a tough opponent in the semis.
I definitely think that this surface suits her game really well. That's why she's playing so well so far. But yeah, she's a challenging player, and we had a lot of tough battles. I lost a lot of tough battles against her. I won tough ones, and I'm excited to face her.
Sabalenka 3-5 in 8 matches against Anisimova. California native Taylor Fritz advanced to his first ever Wimbledon semifinal. He'll play Carlos Alcaraz, also a winner today. With this tennis update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I won.
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use 2 screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch 2 games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's on the 1s and 2s. Real quick before we bring in our next guest, I mentioned before that Jannik Sinner came back from 2 sets to love down to beat Gregor Dimitrov in the, round of 16 at Wimbledon. Well, Dimitrov tore a pectoral muscle on a serve in the third set, whatever it was. But Sinner was probably going out.
Yeah.
And he catches a break because Dimitrov had to retire from the match. So there you go. So it's Shelton and Sinner tomorrow for a spot in the semifinals. All right. For the next month, there will be no league matches for the NC Courage, but they had won their last 2. They have 2 very, very attractive friendlies over the next few weeks, and the head coach, Sean Nahas, is joining us on the Adam Gold Show. First of all, sir, are you good? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Just still bouncing back, but yeah, everything's okay.
All right, well, I'm glad you're all right. We had missed you for a little bit. Let's get to, before we get to the friendlies coming up, which are very cool to think about, your team, who had given up a bunch of goals for a couple of weeks, had won their last 2. So let's work backwards. Jaden Shaw gets the tying goal, the equalizer, in the kind of middle of the second half. Her first goal. How cool was that to see? What does that do for her?
Yeah, I think, anytime someone gets on the score sheet, I think it's a massive thing, especially someone that's probably been pressing a lot to make it happen. So, we'll see how she builds off that and responds off that. But I know it's a big weight off her shoulders, and she carries a lot of attention. And for her to get that in that moment, I think was maybe when we look back on it, will be an important thing. So hopefully she can build off it, and her confidence continues to grow from it.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up in that way is because she's part of the national team program. Now, she's not necessarily threatening some of the stars for their spot, but she's part of that program. So there's obviously a future for her in that pipeline. And what are we, 13 matches in, and she gets her first goal. What do you see that doing for her? You talked about confidence, but you see it every day in training and then in matches. What do you think that does for her?
No, I think, again, she's one of those players that, because of the attention that she comes with, that she's earned, I think it's one of the, you play with this little extra weight, and everything, the goal seems smaller, and every little mistake seems enhanced. And I think, it's probably just something that just allows her to just drop her shoulders and just get back to, playing and enjoying it a little bit more, because she's a presser. So, hopefully, again, that just allows for her to come into training. She just got back into camp, because after she had national team camp, we gave her a couple of days. She took a couple of days break since she lost the break. So,
right.
I think it just lightens her up a little bit. I think it just gives her a little bit more freedom. And, at the end of the day, it's just how she's going to manage it. But it's definitely something that you can now take off her list, and she can just build off of it. And hopefully, usually when you score 1, 2, and 3 aren't far behind, but that'll come in due time.
Yeah, and of course, in terms of league play, you got to wait till August before that that resumes. We'll get to that in a minute. I know you don't like that, but 2 good friendlies coming up real quick. Back-to-back matches, goals in the first minute. There's so much for easing into matches. The last one was, I think, your team. The one before was, I believe it was Angel City. Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, Angel City, we scored first.
Oh, okay.
Houston,
I had it backwards.
Houston, we gave up. Yeah, so, to do it on the road is important because it takes the crowd out of it. Doing it home was a little bit strange for us, but the group was resilient, and, we found a way, as the game built on, and, I felt we had the better run of play. And I thought the staff did a good job of preparing the group to play, and, I watched from afar.
Right.
But I think, it was a good performance from the group, and to get the 3 points was a massive thing. But when you give up goals or score goals that early, it's a lot different than scoring late, just because there's still 90 minutes left. So it's not you can't rest on your laurels a little bit.
Real quick about the game-winning goal by Brianna Pinto. Now she's had to overcome some injuries, and I know she probably wants to be more involved in terms of, I don't know about starting, but maybe playing a bigger role in matches. What do you think it is for her to get back on the score sheet?
Yeah, I think, Pinto, the way we've used her this season, and, I think it's just the way we're currently built. We have to, I think every player wants more time, even if they're playing every minute, right? That's just the way they are. But, she's done well to come in and make a difference, and that's all we can ask for. And that's just right now sometimes the role that players take on. And, the one thing is, regardless of what the role is, she's going to go and try and do it to the best of her ability. And, I think that's just who she is and how she's wired. But for her to go in and get the result, find the game winner in that stage is, again, it's another confidence boost. But, it's just when you have things going the way you're going and you're getting results, it's hard to make changes, So you just sort of go with how things are going, and that's what we've decided.
Yeah, and the way the goal was scored was just really like a big cluster in front of the net. Yeah. The ball found her, and she slotted it home for the win late on in extra time. Sean Nahas, head coach of the NC Courage, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So now your league is shut down for the Women's Euros, I guess, for the next several weeks. But you do have 2 friendlies with teams from Liga MX coming in. So tell us about it and tell us why it's exciting for you.
Yeah, I think for us, anytime you can get outside competition, it's a good challenge for us. And, Tigres is a group that's put a well-talented roster together. And, I think for us it's good because it gets players that maybe haven't been getting the time that they want. It gives us that chance to do that. It allows us to rest some players. It allows for us to try different things without the pressures of having to get 3 points. And that's what we'll do, tomorrow and over the next 4 weeks is just experiment with things and try different things. And, results are not something that we've even discussed because they don't mean anything in that regard. It just allows for maybe players that haven't been getting time to perform and say, hey, you know what, I deserve more time, or maybe we try players in different spots that maybe help us to add depth in certain areas. So yeah, that's what it provides us. It just provides us those and it allows us to keep our game minutes up, but it's not going to be the normal starting lineup that you would normally see because we have to get players minutes to get their fitness up, but also help them with their confidence as well.
So normally we talk about these things as friendlies, and I'm just going to draw a comparison to what Mauricio Pochettino is going to have to deal with for the men's national team, where they have no competitive matches between now and the start of the World Cup. Everything that they will play, because there's no qualifying for the U.S., so there won't be any of that. It's all going to be friendlies. But how do you treat those as competitive matches?
Well, I think you still have to give them the same detail that you would. We're still approaching it the same way as if it was a regular season game. It's just they know, the players know that there's no 3 points on the line. It doesn't help us in the standings. But I think, they're competitors, and they know there's an opposition on the other side. And for them, it's how do I prove myself to the coaching staff or just, whatever we're trying to do. And the one thing I'll say about our club is when we've had friendlies or we've had challenge cups, we've had these types of things, our group has always stepped up. And I think that's just the way our players are wired and built. So we've never really had that issue. We have a good group of players that understand that they have a job to do. And, but we're not treating it any differently in that regard. We want them to go out and be competitive. But, I think it's just a natural thing that they go out and they do that. I'd be surprised if that doesn't happen.
All right, and by the way, the match against Tigres is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, over at Wake Med Soccer Park. All right, 2 questions for you before we let you go. Sean Nahas, North Carolina Courage head coach, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Have you been, are you enjoying, are you taking the women's Euros at all during this period?
Yeah, we've been watching as a staff in the office, certain games. We haven't watched every game, but yeah, we've been watching the last couple, and there's been some good matches overall. And it's different because we're watching as fans, and
right,
so it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's been entertaining. It's good to see the stands filled and the women's game being put on the world stage.
I remember this event 3-5 years ago, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago. Really opening people's eyes to just how awesome the game was. I think it even caught UEFA by surprise that they were able to sell out much larger stadiums for some of these matches. I watched Spain, Belgium yesterday. I watched the England, France the other day. England, we thought, had gotten off to a lead, and then France just was too good for them. Have you been taking in any of the other stuff, whether it's Gold Cup or Club World Cup here in the U.S.?
I watched some of the Gold Cup. I've watched the FIFA Club World Cup. I just watched certain teams, but I was telling the staff that there's some teams that you don't see every day or every weekend. Like Al Hilal and all the Brazilian clubs. I think they performed really, really, really well.
Yeah.
There's been some really good matches, but the Real Madrids and the PSGs are at a different level. But yeah, no, I think it's been great. I think the crowds have made it really entertaining, especially the Brazilian crowds. Yeah. And to see the empty seats the way they were, that's a little bit disappointing. But the good part is when you turn on the women's game, there are none of those. So maybe FIFA could take a look at that.
Yeah, maybe they should. And hopefully people come out and watch your team take on Tigres tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Wake Med Soccer Park. Sean Nahas, North Carolina head coach. North Carolina Courage head coach. I forgot a word there. I appreciate your time, sir. I'm glad you're feeling well, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
You got it. Sean Nahas here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, Rod Brind'Amour talked about Nick Ehlers, Keandre Miller, the potential of handling the center position from within. and more. And we'll talk to the head coach next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
If you are on Medicare, scammers may target you to steal your identity. Remember, Medicare will never call you asking for personal details. The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medicare Patrol program is here to protect you from fraud and provides you with knowledge to stay safe. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Experience a day of discovery at the world's largest natural habitat zoo located in Asheboro. North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens offers miles of shaded pathways, engaging activities and nature trails, and award-winning educational programming for all ages. Encounter wild animals, flourishing plants, and extraordinary beauty as you explore the ancient Uwharrie Mountains in the heart of North Carolina. Every visit helps save wildlife and wild places. Plan an unforgettable journey at nczoo.org.
This is Adam Gold.
He doesn't have many years to choose from.
No, and part of that was COVID. Nobody's picking COVID.
COVID was a great year.
Yeah.
Look, if you invested in Zoom,
oh, that was a good year. Yes.
You had a good year during COVID.
Yep.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. Tomorrow it'll be a Chip Patterson Wednesday. Yesterday we discussed a little bit about the The fact that The Athletic has ranked their top 100 college football rivalries. I have some issues with, forget about the ranking, because you can quibble and it's all personal taste. I mean, some of it is not. Some of it is, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn, the Iron Bowl, get it. Texas, Oklahoma, Red River Shootout, understand. And I think they break some rules that they probably shouldn't break when you're talking about current rivalries. Like, when was the last time those two teams played? How many times have those two teams played?
Right.
All right. So things like this that, it'd be a good barroom discussion, good for our Summer Stupid series.
Love it.
Yeah. So,
Triple S.
So we'll mess around with that a little bit more tomorrow with Chip. But something they did today, which we haven't even brought up yet, is that they listed their best 25 rivalry game names. Some of them are really good. Iron Bowl is obviously very good. And the ranking really was baffling to me because they left some obviously good ones at the bottom of their list. Like, to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure there is a better name for a rivalry game than the Backyard Brawl.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
They had the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And they had rivalry games where I'm not sure I've ever heard of the rivalry, let alone the name.
Yeah.
But we'll mess around with Chip Patterson tomorrow with that. But we are into the time where, we're going to rank stuff, and we're going to talk about the Summer Stupid series, and we may do that tomorrow.
Nice.
Well, we're going to do it every day this week because
you never know where it could go, though.
We're just trying to have some fun.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do a mailbag tomorrow, do a bunch of things. Anyway, Rod Brind'Amour earlier in the program joined us, and if you're a Hurricanes fan, you got Keandre Miller on the blue line, Nick Ehlers to add to the forward mix. We talked to Rod about starting with we're working backwards, Ehlers, who can play both wings. And I don't know where he plans on playing him, but I asked him what he liked about the player.
Well, what's the like is obvious. The stuff that stands out when you watch him play is the speed and then the skill level. So that's a great combination. And to be honest, the consistency of that, too, over the years. Like, he's been a pretty consistent player with those numbers and whatnot. So I think you're going to add a guy that can put a little more offense into our group and, a little flair as well. So I think that's obviously welcome.
He said that he had conversations with you in this process, and he felt like you guys were on the same page with what your vision for his role was on the team. So do you see him playing either the right or can he play both right and left? And do you see him playing with Sebastian?
Well, I think that's obviously where we would try to start him. I mean, that's one of the reasons bringing him in, I think, is to see if we can have a connect there with Seabass. And obviously we got some good options too with other guys, but I think that's be the starting point, and we'll see where it all goes. Obviously, I think he can help too on the special areas of the game, right? Like the power plays and the 4-on-4s, and we get into overtimes. Those are real key parts of the game, certainly in the regular season, and that's part of his skill set. So we're excited to get him in the mix, and a lot of potential there.
All right, let's talk about the other one. And I saw the video that was released, and you compared Keandre Miller to when Carolina brought in Brady Shea. The obvious comparison is that it's the same team. You brought Shea in from the Rangers, Miller coming over from the Rangers, also a left shot defenseman. What is it about Miller that you think will fit in your system?
Well, I think any D can fit in a system. I think it's just his skill set obviously is a little more, I guess, advantageous to his skill set too, like with the skating and the size and the reach and the cover and ground. And I think his offensive mind, I think he's trying to get up in the play. You watch, he's got that ability. looks like he's got a pretty good shot. That's kind of where the comparisons came in to, our good friend Brady Shea. So obviously that's pretty high praise in my opinion. We don't know the kid at all, so that's going to take some time. But I think it's a good change for him. I think it's going to be a good change of scenery, and obviously you can't. That position is just so valuable. And if we're thinking that he's going to be a top end D-man, which is obviously why we're reaching out to get him, I think this could be a real good fit.
I'm going to ask you about where in a minute, but I go back to the 23 series against the Rangers, and Adam Fox had a great year in 23, and they have other great defensemen. And for my money, I thought Miller was their best defenseman in that series. I thought that was the best I had ever seen him play in a long stretch, because I thought he was an elite player in that series. Does he play with a physical edge? Would you like to see maybe more of that, or you just want him to be who he is?
I think just the first thing you're doing is bring him in and make sure he's comfortable and play his game, and then now can we add, right? Can we make you even better player? So that's kind of the other stuff that you're talking about. If that's not part of his game naturally, can we get that out of him or add that to his repertoire? I mean, that's what it's all about with every player essentially. So it's I think a great move for our organization, and like I said, I mean, obviously a lot remains to be seen, but pretty good steps by management.
25 years old, 6'5", 210 pounds. That's not easy to add to a group, and he's already had 5 good years in the NHL. Rod Brind'Amour is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. 7 defensemen on the roster right now. Mike Riley was also added, and I think sneaky, really good move to add somebody with that much NHL experience as potentially, a 6-7 on your blue line. But right now, 5 of the 7 defensemen under contract play on the left side or are left shot. They can't all play on the left side because you have a big hole in the right. So who do you have in your mind who might step over and play the right side?
Yep. I think it's interesting because it's kind of a moot point. I know, we can fill time here talking about it, but everybody's probably going to move around a little bit this year. Maybe, in the past it wasn't quite that way.
Uh-huh.
But I think just because there's some unknowns, somebody's going to have to move over. We like our group. Does Walks get a chance to play up a little more? Do we do Nikishin up and see, or do we, got to be careful about pushing him too hard? He's got a lot to learn. So I think all this is going to, kind of work itself out. But it's just great to have, a lot of good options.
I don't know if you know this, I do a podcast, and I also speculated about how the defense would line up. And I said, there's a boring way of looking at this, and then there's a more creative way of looking at it. And the boring way is probably maybe the way to start, where you just elevate Jalen Chatfield and Sean Walker, moving them up a little bit, and you let Keandre Miller get ready playing behind Slavin on the left side, and you give Nikishin a chance to grow, playing him in a third-line role, and maybe move Gostisbehere over to play the right side, because he did play the right a little bit. I know there was a playoff game where he played the right, and I talked to Chip Tracy about it. Thought it might have been the best game he played with the Hurricanes. I know that maybe that's not boring, but is that maybe an easy way to start?
Well, I think that makes sense, right? And I think, moving guys over to their offsides is not ideal, especially in today's game with the puck pressure that everyone puts on.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't understand that it's tough when you jam a guy up and he's got to take that extra second to handle it on his offside. All of a sudden, that's how turnovers happen. So what you mentioned, having Ghost go over there, he's one of our more talented players, so that makes sense, right? Like if you're just, sitting there going, well, let's try him because he probably can handle it the best. But like we said, there's going to be a lot of, I think, experimentation in that group. But I think every option should be a solid one.
Did you feel, before I move on to one more thing, did you feel almost like you were restricted in shuffling the deck defensively last year?
I don't think it was restricted. I just think it was, to be honest, we were still one of the best defensive teams in the league. So it's not like it was like, oh, man, we got to change things up. I mean, I never really felt that way. It was hard because you're comparing it to the years previous and where we had, probably the best maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Top four, like just shut down really solid, and it wasn't quite the same, but still pretty good. But, I think now this year, like I said, with new guys coming in, you don't really know. So maybe it does free you up a little bit to try new things.
All right, let me ask you one thing about the roster, and I know that there's been this search, and it's not just Carolina doing it. A lot of teams around the league are looking for another center to play in the top six, and Carolina hasn't been able to go out and locate one via trade. There really wasn't one available in free agency once Sam Bennett re-signed with Florida. Would you consider a Jarvis or even a Logan Stankoven moving them to center and reconfiguring your lines?
Well, it's for sure a consideration. I mean, you just look at now with the additions that we have, it's pushing some wingers, if not down the lineup, maybe even out, right?
Right.
And so that's to avoid that, then somebody would have to slide in there. And so, that's something you definitely tossing around. And both those guys you mentioned, haven't played center in the NHL, but they did at younger days, which, helps a little bit. So I can, not 100% say that that's going to happen, but it's definitely an option that we're seriously looking at.
Younger days for a 22-year-old Logan Stankoven, or what, a 24-year-old Seth Jarvis, if he's even 24, that they were like 8 in their younger days. Do you think Seth would be a good center?
I think he would. I think it kind of goes back to where you would remember the debate about putting Marty Natchez at center, and doesn't mean they wouldn't be able to do it. Are you losing some of the high end stuff that they do on the wing?
Mm-hmm.
And is it really worth it? Like, okay, play center now. You're taking the 30 guy can pump in 30 and he gets 20, but he's playing good defense. Is that worth it?
Right.
It's kind of that concept. You don't want to take some of your best players and make them worse by playing a position it is really hard. It's a hard position to play. So, it just adds another element, I guess, that takes away from your offense. You don't want that. So that's kind of the dilemma, and really we won't know until we do try it.
Yeah, and that's why we have 6 preseason games, although these guys aren't going to play 6 preseason games. Oh, are you in favor of an 84-game NHL season, regular season?
I'm in favor for they're going to have 4 preseason games, and then 84. I'm in favor of 88 regular season games and 0 preseason games. If you want to be the honest truth, so whatever way lessens the one, and I'm good with adding the other.
Gotcha.
We don't want to get too carried away, but really, what I would love to see is the season just start earlier so that we can end earlier. And just if this feels like when it gets going into June that it's just dragging a little bit, unless you're teams that are in it, the interest level kind of everybody's thinking about other things. So love to see us figure a way as a league to speed it up a little bit without jamming up the whole season.
All right, part of our future conversations with the head coach will involve maybe how to do that. Also, we have the Olympics coming up that's going to shut the NHL down for a couple of weeks. That's certainly not going to get us to the end of the season any quicker unless we're going to play games more concentrated. Now, if you shut the league down for like 2.5 weeks, which is what's going to happen, and maybe 3 weeks, you generally we'll play anywhere from, 10 to 13 games in a 3-week period. In general, the Hurricanes don't play more than 14 games in a month. So we're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 or 13 games over a 3-week stretch. It's tough to hide those during the course of a season without tacking on at least a week to the front and a week to the back. So, and I don't know that I haven't seen the schedule coming out yet. I think it comes out very soon. But it's hard to bury 15 games or 10 to 12 games during the course of a schedule without adding a lot of time to the front or the back. And think about if they go to what Rod suggested, 88 games. Fewer preseason games are good, right? The preseason they're a tough watch in any sport. In any sport, the preseason is a tough watch.
Big time.
As a quick aside, whenever the commissioner goes, the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, goes on his, fans have told us that they really don't like preseason football. You're right. They don't. But it's not that they don't like preseason football. It's that they don't like paying regular season price.
Yeah.
For preseason football.
Exactly.
So let's stop being intellectually dishonest about it.
If it doesn't mean as much, it shouldn't cost as much.
I think if you're not putting the NHL lineup on the ice, it should. And preseason games, you don't ever see it.
Well, and if they're gonna, you could use it in the other direction. If they're gonna jack the playoff prices up. Which we've all seen that they do.
Well, the league does that.
Yes.
That's a league thing. That's not a team thing. That's a league thing.
Then the preseason should be lower.
Oh, it should be. Well, the Hurricanes have generally done a free game.
Yeah.
We watch you in the building.
we need bodies.
We get it. You're not here to see this guy who's going back to Slovenia to play junior hockey. We understand you're not here to see that. But it'll be interesting to see how that thing shakes itself out going forward. We're not going to rewind. A couple of more things to bring up. Victoria, as somebody who appreciates combat sports,
yes,
have you seen the video circulating around social media about it was on a golf course? Where a guy, apparently there's been some slow play.
Oh, no.
And the group behind catches up, and the guy on the tee is taking his sweet time, and somebody has had enough.
Are beers involved?
I'm sure there were several beers involved.
Yes.
Certainly the guy on the tee looked like he might have indulged. Anyway, he is a little bit belligerent.
Okay.
With the person. Now, it really was two ways. There was belligerence both ways. Pent-up anger and aggression. It was probably hot both ways. But the guy on the tee decided that he was going to challenge the other guy.
Oh, no.
The other guy from the group prior was a gentleman apparently named Nick Tarnasky, who played about 6 years in the NHL and had 287 penalty minutes in like 245 games.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, one of those former NHL players.
Oh, boy.
And it went as you might expect.
I'm currently looking at it on Twitter.
Yes, you are. So, I watched that video this morning. I am not a combat sports person. I do not like watching. I have no interest in violence. It's not me. I'm not knocking it. It is what it is. But it's not something that would attract me. I watched this today, and I laughed out loud for this reason. As Tarnasky is delivering his punches, he is shouting, bang. With each time he makes contact, he shouts, bang.
See, I don't have the audio because I don't know if it's FCC approved, but he is flinging this man around like a rag doll right now.
Threw him like it almost looked like he threw him into the river.
Yes.
And then that guy crawls out And that's when he starts delivering punches.
He didn't have enough, so he came
And then
back.
and that guy clearly had a couple. He had spent too much time with the cart girl.
Yeah. Apparently. Yeah. Well, it is the season, so summer stupid series. Or
it is a very funny video.
It is.
I think the guy's probably okay, other than he certainly had his pride beaten. But my
that's
gosh.
like Paul Bissonnette when people were being rude to the wait staff. Remember that story a few months ago?
No.
There were some guys who also indulged, and he was at some restaurant, and Paul Bissonnette was trying to be like a good Samaritan and tell him to, like calm down. At least that's what it looked like from that situation. And he basically was jumped by like 4 guys. He held his own for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can only do so much as one human. So he needed Nick, I guess, to help him. They could have taken on all of it.
Shouts to this gentleman who still has to hit his tee shot.
Exactly.
And just got fed.
Maybe don't fight former NHLers. Not a good idea.
Maybe just don't be likes to fight guy.
Yeah, don't be that.
Don't be that guy.
Enjoy yourself. Just hit golf balls.
Man. And honestly, as somebody did point out, maybe this will be the impetus to correct slow play on a golf course.
Maybe. Or
pick up the pace, people.
Nick Tarnasky has a new career in
he'll be a ranger.
Wrestling.
No, he'll be a ranger. He'll be making sure that the pace of play is good.
Let's go.
If you guys don't pick it up,
Mm-hmm.
here's what's going to happen.
Here's the video.
Here is what's exactly. Just show people the video.
Yeah.
This is our new ranger.
That's what you're going to get.
Meet Nick. He is keeping play moving on the back nine. So I just thought that to me was super hysterically funny. All right. So we talked to Rod. We joked about doing a regular thing. And then at the end, Rod was like, yeah, I was kidding.
Right? And if you're curious about whether he watches the hot dog eating contest like I do or does not, like Adam does not watch, you should go see the podcast because it's up there.
I thought about this also as I was walking down the hall during a commercial break. I criticized him for putting ketchup on hot dogs.
Yes, you did.
I do think that, once you get older than 7, it's time for mustard.
I can't hate it. I'm with Rod.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
When you look at the Carolina Hurricanes,